Okay, so let's start with Justin Timberlake. It's the reason. Okay, the reason why I'm so irritated about this is okay. Well, I'll just start from the beginning. So this is the source that I got this information from is NBCnews.com. So if you guys want to get on there and check out that article, that's where I'm getting this information from. So it's basically saying that Justin on Friday, well, this was February 12th, sorry. Justin Timberlake on Friday apologized to Britney Spears and Janet Jackson for benefiting from a system that condones misogyny and racism following backlash initially stemming from the release of the documentary Framing Britney Spears. So, yeah, and he also apologized to Janet Jackson. So for those of you who don't know, I think it was 2004. Janet Jackson performed at the halftime Super Bowl show, and Justin was a guest. And at the end of the performance, it was it was supposed to rip a piece of clothing off her chest, and I think to show the red underneath. And instead, it showed her actual chest, and so that got a lot of press, obviously, because it was just, it was a quick shot, but it was there, it happened. And because of that, she got banned from the Super Bowl. But then later on down the road, in 2018, I think it was 2018, Justin Timberlake got to perform at the halftime Super Bowl show while she was still banned. And I just felt there was something kind of wrong with that, for the simple fact that he was a part of that performance. So why not have consequences for both parties involved instead of just one? And so he was apologizing to her now, and then he was apologizing to Britney Spears, because after their breakup, from what I have heard and what I've gathered from, I don't know how true this is, like I said, because I didn't do research on that aspect, but I guess they were saying that Britney Spears cheated on Justin Timberlake with Eminem. I don't know how true that is, or if that was just a rumor, but I think that led to the breakup. And so he was saying that she cheated, and so she got the short end of the stick while his career at that time started to soar. And then so Cry Me a River, that music video, where they were saying that it's about Britney and and her cheating. And so he goes on to soar in his career, which I get it, if that's what happened, that wasn't cool. But I feel like for people to make her a laughing stock at that point, it's like, so you act as if none of you have ever done anything wrong in a relationship. And he could have at least said something like, okay, there was a mistake that was made, but y'all don't need to rain down on her. I don't know. I guess I just felt like he didn't really handle the situation right. So in his statement on Instagram, his apology, he said, the industry is flawed. It sets men, especially white men, up for success. As a man in a privileged position, I have to be vocal about this. Because of my ignorance, I didn't recognize it for all it was while it was happening in my own life, but I do not want to ever benefit from others being pulled down again. I specifically want to apologize to Britney Spears and Janet Jackson both individually, because I care for and respect these women, and I know that I have failed. So I think that's a post that he made on Instagram. So I don't know. The thing is, the apology was made years later, after this documentary came out, where his name comes up in the situation. So for me, it's a little difficult to believe his apology when he could have apologized to this before all this happened. But because this documentary comes out and his name is implicated, it's like, all right, so I just want to apologize. No, you could have done that before. But I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
So I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial, because I definitely think that the apology came very late, obviously, right? They dated between 1998 and 2002.
Yeah.
And I think the issue I have with the whole situation is they were both extremely young people when they dated, right? And
they were.
If I kind of go back to looking at my early relationships and the early decision making that I had, and that the way I spoke about people and the way I carried myself is so different in my late teens, early 20s than I am now. And if someone were to put a microphone in front of me after I had to break up and had someone potentially cheated on me or my relationship fizzled out, I'm not sure at that age I would have said the appropriate things.
Yeah.
And so I think it's hard because I do think that he has kind of continued to poke fun at it and continue to make light of it over the years. And that does seem problematic. You're right, because it's like kind of a now in time, why are you all of a sudden feeling this guilt? Is it because you've been TikTok is calling for your demise, or is it because that you actually are sorry and you have, but I go back to cancel culture versus accountability culture. And I think cancel culture can be very toxic, right? Deplatforming people, saying that they don't deserve, that people can't change. And I think that's really dangerous to get into that situation where, yes, he made mistakes when he was 20. He's nearly 40, if not 40 now.
Yeah.
And to say that he hasn't made any decisions that maybe have altered his children now, he has a wife now. And while he's made some questionable decisions in his marriage, it sounds like, I don't know if that means that he has been, he's a terrible person. Maybe he made mistakes and we're all human. And I think that it sounds like Britney Spears, from what I've seen, again, it's been hard because like it sounds like she has fond thoughts of Justin Timberlake and that she understands that they're both in a very crazy situation with their life and their celebrity status. And so the Janet situation, I feel like, is a whole different boat. And I know that poor woman, I feel like it's so sad to see how women are treated even 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, so differently to the way women are treated today. And I think that Britney Spears was put out to be this monster for just potentially, again, I don't know their relationship. She may have cheated, she may have not. He may have cheated, he may have not. And those kind of early relationships, it's always blurry who did what and did what and said what in what situation. And it just sucks. The whole like her losing her virginity thing, even that is just kind of like, why is that anyone's business besides her and her significant other? America was so fascinated to be like, is she a virgin? Isn't she a virgin? And Justin did really, I think, play up on that kind of factor. Like, oh, I took her virginity, and not appropriate, obviously, in today's light. But I do wonder if, like, can we hold him accountable without canceling him altogether and without saying he doesn't deserve to be a person who is famous anymore, but kind of like, we're watching you now and you need to keep a better tab on what you're doing.
Right. And so, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, he doesn't need to be canceled because people have any and all reasons for canceling somebody. So it's just like, oh, I don't like what that shirt represents. You're done. It's like, that's not where you guys are doing too much. For me, like I was saying before, I just think that you should have handled that way better, because the thing is, you saw what was going on. Now, obviously, like you said, at the time they were young, they were teenagers into their early 20s. You know what I'm saying? When all this happened. So obviously you're not going to handle it, the way that you would handle it now. But, years down the road, you see that she's still struggling and there's nothing, I don't know, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it wasn't his place to say anything, but I guess, the things that he was saying, he could have, apologized about that when he saw that things just kept getting worse for her and that it didn't really get completely better for her. And so for you to apologize after the fact, that's where my concern lies. Now, Janet, that whole situation, you could have apologized, or you could have said something about that way sooner. I was talking to my friend Roderick about that earlier, and he was saying that he was really upset about that situation because Justin could have taken the time to be like, okay, you know what? I will perform at the Super Bowl, but only if Janet can come back. Or if Janet can join me, or, something. I mean, that's his decision. I mean, that's his choice whether he wants to do that or not. But it's just, I feel like something could have been said because, like I said, he was involved in that performance. He ripped it off. You know what I'm saying? He did it. And so, in a way, it's like, okay, so if they were to think that it was planned, then it would be both of them that would be facing the consequences. Why is it just her when she just stood there? He's the one that physically ripped the garment off or ripped that piece of clothing. So it's just like, I don't know. It's interesting, but I mean, hopefully he's all right.
I wonder if going into this kind of thing, and that the kind of segues into my next kind of like topic and kind of conversation is, Justin Timberlake does have a lot of faults in this situation, but is it that the mass media, the larger kind of umbrella who controls what's being produced and what's out there, are they really to blame? Like, if Justin Timberlake did happen to leverage his career and say, hey, I won't go to Super Bowl unless Janet's there, does he really have that choice, or are the people ahead of him in the media controlling these kind of things and keeping people out and keeping people down? That because again, when I watched all these interviews for Britney Spears, these old interviews, I mean, this Diane Sawyer interview, Matt Lauer, these interviews are terrible. The things that they're asking her about herself are just, you would not be able to get away with that today. Like, what did you do to cause Justin to cheat on you? What did you do wrong? Like,
And
what?
that,
Going into the paparazzi and how they were like harassing these people, and like how, I mean, even the car accidents. I saw a video the other day where she's backing up and runs over someone's foot. That was another thing that happened to her. It's like, you should see her car. She's in her car crying, begging people to get away from her car, and they are just like on top of her car. She has her kids with her, and I just think that celebrities today are given a small amount of more privacy and respect than they were, I say, in this kind of era when she got huge. I mean, even Princess Diana, she was also harassed by the media and things like that. And so I do think in 2021 now we are seeing that we can see how toxic that is to want to even idolize celebrities to the level that we did before. I mean, we don't have as many gossip magazines that are in circulation as much due to things like the internet, but it just shows you that, like, the way we treated celebrities as these like insects, or we want to see them fall. We want to see them do bad. We want to see them go crazy, or we want to see them lose their celebrity status. And, you know, I don't even like to refer to celebrities as crazy. And I think that's a big kind of buzzword. Like, Britney was always considered crazy. No, she has mental health issues, and she has some serious issues going on. And instead of getting her help, people decided to print articles about her without her panties on and laugh at her and make fun of her and call her dumb and things like that.
Yeah, because I mean, and piggybacking off of what you were saying before, it's back then social media wasn't a thing. I mean, at least not in the way that it is now. And so when you saw a celebrity doing something, I think that's kind of what fed into every situation being so blown out of proportion and being so dramatic, because you weren't seeing them on a daily basis, you know, on Instagram or just scrolling through the internet and like seeing this and that and all that stuff. You saw it on the news, or like people were talking about it. So therefore it was this huge, you know, blown out of proportion thing, because you didn't have access to that celebrity or that information like constantly. So if something did happen, it's like, what? This is crazy. I can't believe that happened. But now it's kind of like, dang, that's crazy. You see that? All right, moving on. You know what I mean? And so because you have access to it, you can see it every single day. You know, you can see this and then you'll see something else that catches your attention. So it's just like, so as far as the internet goes, like you said, there's not as many gossip columns because everybody else does it now. Like, you know, people do it now for you with the whole cancel culture, or just people are flooding the comments. You know, that's basically, in a way, if you want to think about it, is like the new gossip column. Really, you know, you post something and then you just go through the comments and just all these conversations. Sometimes people will be arguing with each other, and sometimes it'll go off base to something else that has nothing to even do with the post anymore. So it's just, it's very interesting. So I think that kind of really fed into it, especially with the paparazzi. That's not this huge thing anymore. Back then it was a lot bigger, because they knew that nobody else was going to be able to see this, or that nobody else was going to be able to have easy access to it. So therefore it was a much bigger deal. But now it's like everybody records everything on their phone. So
definitely. And I think that kind of all these platforms like Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and things like that have kind of cut out that middleman, right? Like you're talking about, and made it so now celebrities can interact directly with their fans and speak directly to their fans. And that kind of brings me into my kind of like my last point.
Yeah.
Kind of, why hasn't Britney Spears come out and addressed the situation directly herself? And that's the part where I have concerns about. She's made some she's made some vague Instagram posts, and there's a whole podcast is dedicated to discussing her Instagram and how cryptic it is and the conspiracy theory surrounding what it can all mean. But, you know, Britney Spears, I know she's been under a lot of control with her team and has many things to be filtered before she can get. That's what the documentary kind of alluded to. What is being presented online? Is that coming from Britney Spears, or is this being calculated by her team and put out there? And so her team has come out and said that the dad is not trying to manipulate her, but where is Britney directly speaking to her fans? Because she is on Instagram. I see her dancing all the time and trying outfits on. And why has she not come out and just said, you guys, this is not true. I am okay. And that's what really worries me.
That is the that's a whole other thing, because now it comes down to, obviously, the topic of conservatorship, but now it's control, like literal control over somebody's life. And so
Censorship. You
yeah,
have
and
no ability to speak out your own thoughts.
right. And so and the thing is, I mean, if anybody were to really try to look into it, it can be a very, very dark thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, I mean, like you said, why hasn't she said, or why hasn't she been able to, or not even been able to, but why hasn't she said anything concerning that, or at least a little bit more detail to give us a little bit more of what she's dealing with? Because there are people, like I said, I think it was a video clip on the news, and I forgot which source it was, but they were lined up like a rally outside, and they all had signs talking about free Britney Spears. And just, when some of the people were being interviewed, I mean, they were dead serious. It wasn't this, oh, we love Britney, we just want her to be free. It was these people that were very serious. It's like, no, what's happening to her is completely unfair.
Definitely. And I think I see her a lot on her Instagram going out there and making these little dance videos and making this little stuff. And it just makes you really wonder, like, she doesn't, in a lot of her photos and a lot of her things, look well in a lot of these posts that she's posting. She looks disheveled or possibly a little disoriented. And it comes back to, like, is she being medicated by her team and things like that? And is she being kept silent or censored because what she is going to say is going to go against her parents? Or is it that she really isn't able to have these free thoughts for herself? And I go back to, again, looking at the amount of money she's making, the amount of jobs that she's secured. How could that be possible at this point? It doesn't seem right.
Right.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I really wanted to be like Britney Spears. I remember, like, 1996, she came out on the scene, and I was about 6, 7 years old. And I was like, I want to be like her when I grow up. I want to be famous. And if this is the price of fame, I don't think it's for me. I couldn't imagine being under that kind of, having that much money and that much, like, wealth and celebrity, and then still not being able to do basic things for yourself and have basic rights to yourself. It sounds so terrifying, like the worst scary movie you could think of. And that's scary.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true, because sometimes the scariest things are the things that are right in front of your face, or just everyday situations. It's not always, dealing with, well, I guess it's still dealing with monsters, but in a metaphorical sense.
Definitely. And I wonder kind of like where this goes forward for her, and like what that looks like for her going forward. I mean, are we going to see a time in our lifetime and in her lifetime where she's going to be able to produce music and be in control of herself again? Or is she going to continue to kind of be this, like, puppet that her team puts out to go open another tour and make some more money, and then kind of get suppressed and quiet again? I'll be interested to kind of see where this goes forward for her.
Right, right.